Good morning, good morning. I know there's a lot going on today, which is no kidding. So, in addition, I don't know who all of you all look at the calendars. Boy, I'm going to just find some grammar in there somewhere. Have you looked at your calendar? And on the 21st is International Peace Day. Or Peace One Day is what I can't remember, Jeremy Gilly, a producer, kind of took that one and started doing festivals 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So the 21st, yeah. So I wrote this song about peace, and it's looking at all the costs of violence that we talk about in our society. I thought I'd try and flip it around and think about how peace pays. I know some people wearing shades inside their houses after collisions with imaginary doors. And there's so many babies missing, mommies and daddies lost to war, while flags are daily at half-mast. Still the costs of violence rise, with the left and right, they're stuck in their fight. We could flip this thing around the day we realize peace pays. Nearly 8 billion ways. Raise your voice today, honoring the millions gone away. We have a say. We could sing or demonstrate, pray or meditate. Come on, people, now peace pays. Peace pays. In Afghanistan or Congo, Ukraine to the USA, in Iraq or Gaza, everywhere we go, there's just got to be so many ways. Peace pays. Nearly 8 billion ways. Raise your voice today, honoring the millions gone away. We have a say. We can sing or demonstrate, pray or meditate. Do what you do now. Peace pays. Peace pays. Peace pays. Peace pays. Come on, people, peace pays. Peace pays. It's not religious or about no politics. It's about people everywhere. It's not just geographic. When both sides in a fight make a loving choice with the beat of one heart, the sound of one voice, that's when there's power in our hearts, power in our hands, in every single language, each and every land. Oh, the costs of violence rise. It's measured in lives. We may be smart, but when we're wise, then we'll realize peace pays. Oh, 8 billion ways. Raise your voice today, honoring the millions gone away. We have a say. We can sing or demonstrate, pray or meditate. Come on, people, now peace pays. Peace pays. Peace pays. Oh, peace pays.
There you go. Partial standing ovation. Just what you wanted this morning. Steve and I have shared some precious moments this week, and any moment with Steve is precious time. Steve Mason, our vocalist, soloist, and Ellen's in the back of the room doing sound. Ethan's there doing video this morning. Yay, yay, yay. And the place is a buzz. I know those of you on video can't see it, but there's a lot going on in here this morning. Books and more books. And books are coming in, and they're still unpacking them, and tables are full, and they're awaiting purchase. So if you are nearby at home watching, put your going out clothes on and come on over, because we have books for you this morning, and we would love to have you come and be with us. So in the warm and loving spirit of unity, we welcome you. In the warm and loving spirit of unity, we welcome you. Those of you who are here, those of you who are watching at home, those of you who will be watching sometime during the week, we welcome you in that true spirit of love, a spirit of peace, a spirit of welcome, a spirit of belonging and reminding we are one family. We are one universal family. You can divide us into groups if you like, but the reality is there is only one presence and one power in the universe, expressing in a multitude of forms and ways. And the reality is that of which we are made, is that which is present in and through all. And so when we say we are one family, we mean it. Not necessarily always in agreement, but in the reality of the truth of our being. There is but one, expressing in and through us all. And in that realization, we welcome our family near and far. It was a busy week. There was a lot going on this week. The memorial service for John Kelly was on Tuesday. Thank you all who were present on that day. It meant so much to have you there. The wedding ceremony for granddaughter Deneen was on Friday, another blessed and beautiful occasion. And now Louise does not, as far as we know, but about half the family who live on the farm have COVID. So please hold them in prayer. And contagion did not happen until after the memorial service. So those of us who were there, we haven't had an exposure. So I just want you to hold them in your prayers, in your high watch, if you will. So in and amongst all of the books that have arrived, this one arrived on my podium. And I don't know who put it here. Beth, did you put this here?
I did.
It's quite, how did you know?
It is fantastic, and we gave them out when we did the training for the prayer team.
We did.
And so I gave it back to you, thinking if somebody comes onto the prayer team.
Well, it's quite what, thank you. It's called The Art of Being a Healing Presence, a guide for those in caring relationships. It's quite lovely. Thank you for finding it and returning it. I gave away a bunch and it's already coming back to me. Is that what happened? That's what we hear about when you give something away. It comes right on back to you. Maybe not the same thing, but things that are similar. Richard, are you going to read for us our daily word? Good morning, Richard. Yay, Richard. Come on up. Is that it? Isn't it? Yeah, I know. That's beautiful. It's for sale, you know. You too could take that home, Richard. It is. I'm not going to pick it up right now. It's big. It's beautiful.
Good morning. Good morning. And good morning, Steve. That was a very topical song. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Today's daily word is thoughtful. My kind thoughts and deeds are a blessing. Today I bring the love and peace of God to all of my encounters by being thoughtful. More than politeness and deeper than kindness, thoughtfulness means I consider the comfort and happiness of others equal to my own. My intention is to let those in my life know what they mean to me. I may reach out to someone who needs an encouraging word, letting them know they have what it takes to succeed. I may surprise someone with a kind act, anticipating a need and taking care of something for them before they have to ask. Each thoughtful word and act lets those in my life know how important they are to me and how worthy they are of my time and attention. And from Hebrews 13:16, do not neglect to do good and to share what you have, for such sacrifices are pleasing to God.
Nice. Thank you, Richard.
My pleasure.
For those of you who can't see it, it's a book that stands about this tall, and it's called Celestial Gallery. And it's artworks, and on the front is a beautiful Buddha painting. And it's up for grabs to the one who wants to take it home. It's for you. Did you trip him? I did. Don't do that. And speaking of kindness, it's fun to see our friends back. Good morning. Good morning. We love it. Nice to see you. This wonderful couple who have been with us once before. Is it Bob? Yes. And Phyllis. Nice to see you again. Thanks for coming. And we have somebody new. Well, he's not new, he said. Maybe before here? Your name?
First time in this meeting. My name's Phil.
Hi, Phil. Thanks for being with us. Cleo's back this morning. We just hug her until we squeeze her right into heaven. That's how it is. The book team has done an extraordinary work. I don't know about the baked goods, but the books are a feast. And come tell us about everything. Come on, Beth and Chris, come tell us about today. About everything. Yeah, tell us everything.
Life,
Yeah.
the universe, and everything.
Yeah, and everything.
We have to know the answer to the question, why are we here? Mike's not on. Oh, okay.
It's blue. Richard turned it on. Here. Oh, you
Looks on.
It's on.
We're a work in progress.
Yay.
I don't know what was touched, sorry, but I was saying we know the answer to that question, why are we here? Well, look around you. You get to take home all this wisdom. I was thinking, think of all the wisdom and the ideas. I think we have close to 1,000 books here. We haven't counted, but it's an estimate. We have puzzles, we have games, we have CDs, we have many sorts of media, and we have an angel.
My turn.
We have several angels,
We have,
but
yeah,
they're
there's-
not for sale. Yeah.
There are miscellaneous items. If they have a price sticker, they're for sale.
And the prices are what we hope are the minimum, and it's a love offering, and it's a great cause. It's all for the Children's Church. So, dig deep, folks. And then we have baked goods. And that's only some of them. More are coming. And they're homemade. This
Wonderful.
is Romeo Shrestha with a foreword by Deepak Chopra. And it's beautiful.
It's the biggest book I've ever seen.
They want to see a page.
If you're going to be the demonstrator, take it all the way.
Just call me Diana. I was going to say, okay, Diana.
Wow. Wow. The healing
Ooh.
Buddha. Yeah.
It's bigger than my apartment. So I think this will be a special price.
Oh, good.
So we don't know what, but we'll allow whoever takes it to be very generous.
Yeah.
Because it's one of a kind.
It is one of a kind. So periodically throughout the event, we will be having a quick trivia quiz or maybe a joke.
Or both.
Or both. And whoever gets it right gets a free thing. Yeah. And do we need to say anything else?
Anybody have any questions? Oh,
Tell the people online how long this happened.
Oh, this is going from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Oh,
after church.
and Jerry and I, who normally do a lot, will be leaving right after the event to catch a plane to Mexico. So anybody who's willing to help pack up the remaining books. Yeah. Oh, prices. There are price lists around.
Very affordable.
Very affordable. Yeah. So hardbacks. Go ahead.
Somebody mentioned you could start your own used bookstore.
We have hardbacks at $2, paperbacks at $1, and then there's a lot of miscellaneous. Yes, Valerie.
Checks, cash, but
Oh,
no
yes.
card?
Checks, cash, and if you want to pay with a card, you can go to the website. And there's a place to note what's it for, and you just put books or whatever. Yeah. The book and bake sale. The website is unitysv.org. SV for Skagit Valley. Yes, Richard.
Well, I was gonna ask if we were gonna have a computer that, like you just go. Okay.
No.
All right. Enough complexity.
Yes.
Enough.
Join
That's
us.
what I
It's going to be a
say.
community building fun event. Gail.
Yay.
We'll have a table set.
Yeah, we're going to have a table set up, and where's Claudia? Claudia will be joyously
Claudia's over here.
accepting everything. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Yay! So here's an idea. Why don't you text your friends and tell them to come on down? They can have cookies and coffee with you, and they can too. I mean, look at all the wisdom. Plus, we have so many fiction books. We have an entire box of quilter mystery books, like Cozy Mystery. Somebody that likes to quilt and likes mysteries, we have I don't know how many in the series, 5, 10.
Okay.
Is Gail saying yes?
All right.
Okay, so I guess Linda's making sounds like she wants the mic back.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
we should
done
do that.
now.
I just
Yeah.
want to mention that while the
Thank
books
you.
are generally sorted by genre, there is no organization within that. Have fun.
And I can tell you, if there was a book you really wanted and you didn't feel like you could put out a little cash for it today, we're people who love to give things away. So if you have it, great, share it. If there's something you really want and is calling you, please, at the near end of the sale, I'm going to say, rather than schlepping them all off to wherever they're going, a good cause would be you. So I'm just saying. Can you get me a glass of water? Somebody? Thanks. My script always has your name in it. Thank you, Steve Mason, for always inspiring us with your presence, message, and music. I say the same thing to Ireland on Sundays, but it's not just, but it's the placeholder for giving thanks to volunteers and those who serve us in other ways. Our prayer ministry is always available to you, for you, in prayer. info@unitysv.org. Drop a prayer request in. If you're in the room, a prayer request in our prayer box on the credenza would be lovely. I noticed that lost key was hanging on the front door yesterday. It's a new way to show off lost and found items, to hang them on the front door. But if you lost something, we actually have a drawer of lost and found. I've never looked in it, but I presume there's something there. Thank you. Did the key go? Huh? Did the key go? I don't know. Is the key still there? No. It is in the perpetual and forever lost and found. We wanted to be sure it didn't belong to somebody in the crew, and if not, we're gonna. Somebody left it on the front porch. I don't have any other announcements except Jerry and Beth have a wonderful, wonderful time in Mexico. We will not send our envy your way. We will manage spiritually, deeply, our envy for the possibility of a month in Mexico. And next year, if we know far enough in advance, we can all book our tickets to go with you for a longer stay. Yes. I don't know, are we? Thank you for saying that we have a potluck next week. Thank you. Come bring food next Sunday and share it after the service. This afternoon, if you buy some of the baked goods, you can share them with your friends. Coffee will be on. People will be here. I was hoping somebody would make a sandwich board, announcement board, so somebody could go out on the front and hoot. You're not. Okay, good. It'll be a great day all the way through. I know, but you're not putting a sandwich board on me, I'm telling you that. It would not be pretty. I sat down to work last night and I thought, this week we've celebrated life. We've celebrated passing. We've celebrated marriage. We've celebrated in all kinds of ways. And each of them having a spiritually profound meaning. I noticed that for me, weddings today are a whole different event. 4 photographers, the whole sum and substance of an event that's complicated and big and well run, but a huge production and beautiful in all ways. And I really reflected on it when I went home afterward, thinking, I miss simplicity. The simple dedication in a moment that brings that sense of true fulfillment. I don't blend well into large production energy anymore. And I thought, what is that with me? Am I just getting old and crotchety, or is it that I don't know how to celebrate in a new way? And I thought, no, after the last few years, the call to simplicity is so strong in my heart, spiritually and otherwise. Simplicity, letting that simple, open, spirited heart of our being respond to life in gentle kinds of ways. I wouldn't change what I experienced in Deneen and Nathan's wedding. I wouldn't change it for a minute. But I thought we were standing outside, and the corn was at its height, and so on one side was this huge field of corn, and on in the background was this beautiful little old house that had been put on the property, and so perfect in this greenery and the mountains, and the rain stopped, and everything was just bringing up to reaffirm life, to confirm life, life at its depth and life in its flourishing. Everything was just singing about life. And for me, that's where I'm finding my meaning these days. I put my hummingbird feeders out for the winter the other day, and the hummingbirds are back, and watching them learn again. These are hummingbirds that must be 10th generation hummingbirds, since I've been watching them come and go. How do they know? How do they know where this feeder is? We haven't had hummingbirds all summer. How do they know? Well, they know. The guidance is present. The intuition, the natural simplicity of nature presents itself in that wonderful way. And before we meditate, I wanted to share Mary Oliver's mindfulness. Every day, I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It was what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab, the daily presentations. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these, the untrimmable light of the world, the oceans shine, the prayers that are made out of grass. By Mary Oliver, Mindful. So let us be mindful as we move into meditation. In that deep gratitude for all of life. For the richness of the soil, the beauty of the grasses, for the trees that grow, for all the natural ways that life expresses its beauty. And then for a time, there is that which is fallow. And we appreciate the depth of that time as we deepen and open and allow. And then there is the time of the budding of new life. That which prompts us to see that through the rhythms of life, we also have a rhythm in our lives. And then into the time of growth and flourishing. On the rainy days and on the deep days of stillness, we find ourselves seeking renewal, that we might be nourished and nurtured. On the days of brilliant light, we open ourselves to receive the fullness of that light, reminded that we too are brilliant. And then the days come and the leaves fall, and we watch the cycles unfold again and again and again, and we know them in our own body and in our own being and in our own life. We are born of these cycles. Loving Spirit, in the present cycle of our lives, where we find ourselves now, we offer our trusting hearts and our faith in the perfect order and harmony that you bring forth in every moment. We offer ourselves as one who is on the journey of life in all its fullness, in all its wonder, and all its mystery. For we are a mystery. With your breath, and with a willingness to move more deeply within, you are the mystery of the universe unfolding. You are the beauty and the wonder of creation expressing. The Spirit has created within you the magnificence of all that is needed to experience a life in all its fullness and goodness. As you breathe and allow yourself to remember that it is Spirit living through you. It is Godness living through you in this moment in time and in all moments. And in that Godness, in that grace, in and through the presence, all that what you need is woven into each and every moment. In openness and trust, in faith believing, I trust the perfect order and harmony and wisdom of Spirit, not just to be my guide, but to be the very steps I take, the breath I breathe, and the life I live. In praise and in honor and in gratitude. We breathe, giving thanks, and so it is. Amen.
Usually my phone is off during a service, but I had to get the daily word so I could make sure I had the right part. My daughter showed me how to highlight on a picture, so I highlighted the part I liked. So I liked it all, but my intention is to let those in my life know what they mean to me. Oof. We do that all the time, right? All the time. Yeah, so a friend of mine, her name is Andrea Dreesen, and she did a TED Talk. She was a speakers bureau owner for 20-some years, booked a lot of people we know, I mean famous people, and she was really good at it. And all of a sudden, about 5 years ago, I see her on a TED Talk. I'm like, she's up talking now, you know? And she does this talk on letting those in our lives know what they mean to us. And she calls it Grace Notes, and the subheading is Eulogies for the Living, right? Yeah, right? So I was inspired to write this song around Grace Notes. I took a little workshop. Like I said, she's a good friend, so she tried a workshop out on a bunch of us friends, and inspired me to write a couple Grace Notes. So I don't know if it's a mashup or what it's called. It's a bunch of things. A what? Oh, okay. This is called Grace Note. What if I never told you how much I adore you? Unsaid times, there were plenty years and miles, far too many times you showed your affection, your heart, and your attention. It felt a bit unnerving. Was I undeserving? Just a grace note while I have your ear, a grace note, though you're not here. This grace note pouring from my heart. Taking care of my little ones when I wasn't there. It broke my heart just to witness how you showed up so selfless, gave me a way out with such dignity, a way for kicking, screaming, moody blues. Times we stepped away, we'd say, let's try another day. Just a grace note while I have your ear, a grace note. Though you're not here, this grace note pouring from my heart, a grace note just to make it clear, a grace note. I wish that you were here. This grace note pouring from my heart. What if I never told you?
We've been dancing together. So we were at the memorial service. Thank you. So we've got a mic. It's like, okay, I'm using it, he's using it. We're like, it was a dance. Steve and I were dancing together, having an extraordinary time. So, yeah, kids. We're taking my granddaughter to school, Kaysa, my granddaughter, to school on Thursday mornings now, to preschool. And so now I have a child seat in the back seat of my car for the first time. And we're trying to get her in the car seat, buckled in appropriately on the way to school. And I'm starting to get into the car, and Kay is working with the buckle. And Lily said, when I'm older, will you still be alive? I'm like, oh, Lily, not this morning. I don't know. So I get in, and then I hear her say, because you're really old. Kay and I are like, there's no response to that, of course. And the response was, boy, I don't know. And we just went on like it never happened. But when I'm older, will you still be alive? I don't know, Lily. I don't know. I have had an abundant life. I can stand and say my life has been filled with abundance. Not because I came from a wealthy background, not because there wasn't a lot of struggle along the way, but because somewhere along the way, I had the opportunity to experience so many extraordinary gifts. And along the way, among those gifts, was so much healing and so much of what we call transformation. And people, mentors, ways in which life has shown up on my path that have blessed me in such abundant and extraordinary ways. And now, being here in the valley, part of what we talk about frequently when we're in the car going somewhere is how much we love being here, how much we love living here, because this is sacred land, and we feel the holiness of it and the grace of it, and and the incredible abundance of it. Was it, we ask, all about money or sustenance in that way? That I was blessed with an abundant life? No, I was blessed with a way of seeing life as an abundant experience, even when there wasn't money, and even when I was raising my son alone as a single mother in ministerial school, trying to feed him. The people in the snack bar used to give me the leftover food at the end of the week to feed Scott when they knew that I was working all the time but didn't have resource. Um, uh, and then the people all along the way, and you say, I've had an abundant life. Well, this morning, the few things I want to share with you are about a felt sense of abundance, because I believe it's in that felt sense of abundance that we really enter that state called the flow. We really do come to understand in that felt sense of abundance that we live and move and have our being in this sustained existence where everything seems to be present, if not in a major way, just in the way I need it or we need it or is necessary for whatever reason. But this is the other side of the story, and it's a fable called The 7 Jars of Gold. A barber was passing under a haunted tree when he heard a voice say, would you like to have, I never reflected before on that he was a barber, like that would matter. Like whoever wrote this fable said, oh, and he was a barber. I'm like, well, how interesting is that? A barber was passing, under a haunted tree when he heard a voice say, would you like to have the 7 jars of gold? He looked around, saw no one, but his desire was aroused, and so he shouted eagerly, yes, I certainly would. And then the voice said, go home at once, you'll find them there. So he ran all the way home, and sure enough, there were 7 jars, all full of gold, except one that was only half full. And now the barber could not bear the thought of having a half-filled jar. The other 6, he felt a violent urge to fill it, or he simply would not be happy, is the line in the story. He had to have it full or it wasn't okay. So he had all the jewelry of his family melted into coins and poured them into the half-filled jar. But the jar remained as half-filled as before. This was exasperating. He saved and skimped and starved himself and his family to no avail. No matter how much gold he put in the jar, it remained half-filled. And so one day he begged the king to increase his salary, and his salary was doubled. And again the fight to fill the jar was on. He even took it begging. The jar devoured every gold coin thrown into it, but remained stubbornly half-filled. The king now noticed how starved the barber looked. What's wrong with you, he said. You were a happy and contented man when your salary was smaller, and now it's been doubled and you're so worn out and dejected. Could it be that you found the 7 jars of gold? The barber was astonished. Who told you that? The king laughed. These are the obvious symptoms of the person to whom the ghost has given the 7 jars. He once offered them to me, but when I asked if this money could be spent or was merely to be hoarded, he vanished without a word. That money cannot be spent. It only brings with it the compulsion to hoard and to gain more. So go and give it back to the ghost this minute, and you'll be happy again. if you've been around the block in metaphysics for a while, you can interpret that really quickly about a state of consciousness where enough is never enough, where the construct of the way we're thinking and seeing is based on this sense of scarcity. Even when that which is present in our lives is constantly singing into us this song of sustained flow. Sustained flow. A universally sustained flow that permeates every cell of our being, but more than that, is a perpetual state of the creative expression of life itself, at the heartbeat of the creative process of life itself. This divine creative process is this state, if you will, that when recognized and when entered in consciousness, shifts that sense for us from not enough into always enough, depending on how we define what always enough looks like. Which brings us to the present moment. You can't talk about the experience of divine flow and divine abundance, if you will, without bringing it back to and in this moment. Because when we begin to future think all the time, we project out again that sense of the mystery, and yet we try to measure the mystery and confine it to ideas we have about what will or will not be, what can or cannot be, what we have or what we have not. I've seen some of you live with virtually nothing. And I look at you and I see only more of you than was present before. Only more of you in terms of your life, your liberty, your openness, your surrender, your flow, that sense of flow. No, we say, I have to guarantee that there will be flow when I need it. Therefore, I must work very hard to be sure that when I need it, that's what will happen. And then the walls come down and the water explodes, and it's as though you plan it all and still and still and still. And yet in the moment, we come back and we say, in the consciousness of this moment, in faith, believing that ever-sustaining flow of spirit is present. Why? Because it can't not be so. For the one who can see it or accept it, one of the things that Emily Cady, we've been studying Lessons in Truth, one of the things she said is, you can't have a desire that's not already met. It's filled, it is filled and present before you ever conceive of it. And a divine spark within you sends an impulse into your consciousness so that you can become receptive to that which is wanting to unfold within you and through you and as you and in your life in this very moment. It's a huge promise to make, to say that desire you have is spiritually impulsed, striking the chord of your own beingness, your own sacred beingness, that it might open and expand to receive not 7 jars of gold, but that sense of I live and move and have my being in the flow of perpetually sustained abundance. If abundance only means to me more stuff, if abundance only means to me more money, then what I miss is the realization that true abundance is a state of consciousness. It is moving into a relationship with life based on a different kind of faith and trust. And we stop fighting to have what we need and begin to move more deeply into that conscious awareness of, I live in that state that cannot be taken away, but can be blocked by my very thought, my very mind, my very belief that my jar is always half or less than half full. It's one of the most dangerous states we can live with, that my enough is never enough, or that what exists here and now is not enough. There are other things that want to emerge. There are other ways in which the flow wants to express. But if I'm not in alignment, then I'm trying to fight with all the outer circumstances and conditions, trying to make them fit. And they don't fit. Because what we're coming to learn is universal law or universal creative presence is a constancy. Would I be satisfied if there was no food in the fridge or the cupboard? Although we've had a couple of weeks lately where it was pretty bare, but it wasn't because we couldn't get it. It's because nobody went to the store. But you know, I don't know who the person was, and I'm going to mention this yet again because I keep praying we're going to see an answer to this. That won the $1.333 billion. I keep thinking, somebody's got a ticket. Where the heck did they put that ticket? They won $1 billion. What consciousness are they living in today? They won it, they haven't claimed it. They haven't addressed that they have the winning ticket, all the numbers on that ticket. Where's the ticket? They might be talking to the account. They might be setting up a way in which to work with it. Nobody knows at this point, but every couple of weeks I think about them and I think, you know you've got the ticket? Robert Fulgham tells a wonderful story about a young woman in an airport that becomes hysterical when after long-term travel under harsh conditions, she's ready to go home and she's just exhausted and done in, and she's in the airport and there's a group of them and they're all going to be on the same flight, and all of a sudden she begins to wail and weep and sob because she can't find her ticket. I've told this story, it's one of my favorites. She can't find her ticket. She can't find her ticket. Everybody's trying to help. They're talking. She is just really totally undone and stands up to go talk to the gate agent, and she's been sitting on her ticket all along, is the final phrase. She was sitting on her ticket all along. She went through her bags. She went through the process. What's going to happen? How's my life going to fall apart? What about all of this? How do I get home? I don't have any more money. And then just that phrase, she was sitting on her ticket all along. We're sitting on our ticket, and we can't say that old line about anybody who's in right consciousness gets what they are are promised. But what are we promised? And how do we align with that in a way that makes a difference for us? All right, we don't live in Ethiopia. We don't live in the Sudan. We don't live somewhere where literally food is not coming in by airplane or truck or being distributed in a way it needs to. You cannot say those people are not in right consciousness. Those people are living under the circumstances that are available to them in that moment. And when you're hungry, you don't have a lot of time to give to spiritual thinking. You're just trying to make it through. And yet, on the other side of that, there is this constancy of unfailing source that is moving in and through us all. If it's moving in and through you, it has to be moving in and through that one. So we're not going to blame that one who doesn't rise in consciousness to understand the nature of abundance. I mean, how horrible would that thought be? Well, after all, no, you can't do that. But you can say, I can, from where I live, under the circumstances of my life, be a person who can utilize the ideas I have been given, not selfishly, not only for myself, but to upgrade the state of my consciousness to a realization of flourishing even when there's shortfall. I have the gift. I've been given the life. Why am I so blessed not to be some woman in the desert of Senegal? I don't know. I don't want to know. What I know is I have a responsibility to do what I can with what I know in a way that makes a difference. In my mind, in my heart, in my life. And for us, with all that we are given and have access to in consciousness, to deny the flourishing, creative power of the universe that's working in and through us every moment, to shut down our faith, to close down and wall off our trust, is to say to the universe, it's not enough. More, please. Not enough. Well, there is more available to the one who has the state of awareness in all humility and surrender to enter into the fluctuation of this experience of creation that's taking place in us on our journey. And to see what that leads us to when we know we live in a state of abundance. And we always have, even in the hard times, and we always will. And for the one who does not seem to have that one has something potentially even greater that we don't recognize given the state of our own life experience. Elisha is called Elisha the prophet. In the Old Testament, Elisha is one of my favorite characters. The woman who says, my husband is dead and now his creditors are coming to take my boys away from me, make them slaves. Elisha says to her, how can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? You know this story so well. I don't have anything, she said. I only have this little bit of oil. I don't have anything. Hear that first. I don't have anything. I only have this little bit of oil. And he said, go around and ask all your neighbors for their empty jars. Don't ask for just a few. And then go inside, shut the door behind you. Go inside, shut the door behind you. How clear is the instruction? Go inside, shut the door behind you. Gather the vessels and pour the oil into the jars. And as each is filled, put it to the side. Put it to the side. She left, shut the door behind her. They brought the jars to her, and she poured, and she poured, and she poured, and she poured. And then she said to her son, bring me another, and he said, there are no more. And the oil stopped flowing. In a perfect flow. What is the oil? It is that Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, said, do you not know that there's gold dust in the air? Do you not know that everything is elementally filled with the power of creation and potentiality, and it is so responsive to each one of you that it knows before you know what it is you need, and it's already presencing. I love this story. Go inside. Recenter yourself. Pouring the oil, pouring the oil, pouring that divine essence of pure abundance, of pure substance. Pouring it like a meditation in the stillness, in your consciousness, as you entertain in faith and in trust that that flow is pouring. Maybe not rushing today, maybe it's not an ocean today, but it is an ocean in potentiality, and as you move with it and live in it and flow with it and drink of it, you're not foolish enough to say, oh, let's go buy new cars. You're really looking at it going, in this moment, in this day, where I stand, I may only have a little bit of oil here, but it has the potential to open the door so that I can reestablish myself in the center of the flow. And I discovered that what I thought I didn't have, I have so much more than that. And it continues to flow and flow and flow. It's the flow of life itself. It can be health, it can be money, it can be right laborers to do work that needs doing. It can be the person who shows up on your doorstep in a moment and reaffirms for you that there is an order, because that moment in time is just exactly what was needed for exactly what needed to be. I love that Emily Cady says she calls Jesus the Nazarene. If you've been reading Lessons in Truth, she refers to Jesus as the Nazarene. When the Nazarene, who had recognized the unchangeable fact that the supply of every want awaited in the unseen, the demand for it, he said, ye receive. He was simply stating an unalterable. He had learned enough of spiritual law to know that the instant we ask or desire, we touch a secret spring which starts the good we want on its way toward us. He knew that there wasn't a need to be any coaxing or begging or pleading about it, that our work was simply complying with the unfailing law which was bound to work There was no escape from it. Asking and receiving are the two ends of one and the same thing. Asking springs from a desire to possess some good. Desire in the heart is always God tapping at the door of your consciousness with his or her infinite supply. Before ever you are conscious of any lack, of any desire for more happiness or fullness or of joy, the great Father, Mother heart has desired them for you. It's the desiring them in you that you feel and think is only yourself desiring them. Someone said to Emily Cady, "What if I desire my neighbor's wife?" Is that what you mean? Can I have anything? What if desire in my heart is for... And she hastily put down the question by saying, no, you don't want your neighbor's wife, you only think you do. What you want is the love he or she expresses, and the only place you will ever find that is within you. We're a society that has been taught to believe that there's never enough. As spiritual beings, I hope that we are being taught that there is only enough, always enough, and that there ever shall be. I love you so much. Mr. Steve, we're going to close this out with our love offering, and you're going to do some music while we do our love offering. As you hold your gift in your hand, I give joyfully and easily. That was really ragtag. Let's all do it together. There was no power in that. I give joyfully and easily, for God is my source, and abundance is my nature. Absolutely. Yay.
Thank you for your love and more. Gifts untold, shelter from the cold. When I'm feeling sad or lonely, you let me know I'm not the only one who's ever been here. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Through all my noise, you've given me the choice. Though I complain sometimes about the cold rain, you pick me up so I can listen for a while. Just the things that I've been missing in my life. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Thank you for. Thank you for. Thank you for. As I explore each new corridor, I've been rich and poor, stumble through my share of doors. When I'm feeling sad or alone, you remind me of all the folks who've loved me in my life. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for. Oh, thank you for. Thank you for. Thank you for your gifts and more. That's what I thank you for.
Thank you. Third Thursdays.
Third Thursdays, yeah, Facebook Live.
Facebook Live with Steve, third Thursdays at what time?
6 o'clock for 33 hopefully uplifting minutes.
33 minutes of uplift and music and Steve. Yeah. Yeah, Thursdays, third Thursday, 6 o'clock.
Just go to my Facebook page. You'll find
Facebook.
Steve Mason or Steve Seattle.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There you have that. You bet. Thank you for being here. It's wonderful to see you, to see so many of you. Thanks for coming from far away, and thanks for coming from down the street, and just thanks for coming. Our prayer for protection. Oh, Cadence, hi, baby. He's little, but he's mighty. Our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well now. And the peace song, you up for it?
Are you up for the peace song?
I think we're up for it.
Okay,
How
all
about
right,
it?
let's do it. Oh my goodness. Let